What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. See that my eye looks a little bit red. All right, here we are. It is the 24th day of October, and here we are at about about $111,000, just below there. We got about 12 and a half hours left in the day. And I think that we are, finding resolution of this aftermath of the 10th back here. I do remember on this day when we literally went live right at the low. We were telling everybody to buy. Everybody was telling us, we can't buy. We can't buy because all the exchanges are down. We're like, damn it, that sucks, but that's okay. We're going to have plenty of opportunity to buy because we're going to be moving sideways for roughly, I was saying anything from at least a week to maybe 2 weeks or even longer, right? We typically do, after these flash crashes, we consolidate typically for even like months, let alone weeks. But we're at the point now where it has been a couple of weeks. Any day now, any week now, we should be looking to recover from this flash crash. And I do expect that we will probably recover in a very similar fashion, right? Maybe not this much in one day, but perhaps that much in 1 week. You know what I mean? Like we're going to make short work of this little gap here, this little flash crash moment. I very much do expect that on the way back up, we won't find much turbulence in this area at all until we get back to around our all-time high zone there. And then ultimately we're breaking out to new all-time highs, right? We've got this megaphone pattern. I've seen a few different technical analysts draw this differently. I think it makes the most sense that, if that's the high there, that this is the low here, right? These connect, they connect perfectly. I think that's the best way. I've seen people draw it from back here, and to me that just doesn't make sense, right? That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Or from even from like back here, it's not. I mean, I get it. I get where you're drawing these lines, and you can make them make sense to a certain degree. But at this rate, I'm not trying to make these lines fit best on this pattern. I'm just trying to have them fit exactly as it should on this pattern, right? And the pattern didn't start till over here. It didn't start over here. This is not a megaphone, right? This is a broadening pattern of its own over here, but this is a megaphone. It's an entirely different pattern over here. So why would you measure it from back here? It makes the most sense, in my opinion, to take it from here. And what we have is a very classic setup with this megaphone pattern, right? Typically, you get one, two, three, four, five legs in a megaphone, typically. And on that fifth leg, you look for moments like this where you get what's called a partial decline, where you reach for this line, but you don't actually hit it, right? That's perfect. And typically, almost always, like with a 90% degree of likelihood or more, you see this go to the upside and break out, right? Effectively, you've hit this trend line once, twice, three times. On the fourth time, you will break. And if you don't break, that's because what you did is you got tied up for a moment and then you break. You still will inevitably break out. Very much anticipating that. The way that you'd measure this pattern too, for measure move purposes, right? You take the low of the pattern, which is the lowest price in the pattern, the high of the pattern, the highest price in the pattern, and then you measure it from wherever the lowest price to the highest price would be as far as a breakout would go. So for the downside, if we were to keep coming down like this, well, the lowest side would be down here. We'd have to extend this measurement a little bit. If we were to break out, we'd measure it like this, but we're likely not going to break out. We're not anticipating a breakout to the downside. We're anticipating a breakout to the upside. So we put it here at the top, and the measurement is as follows. It should be something at about $155,000, $150,000, somewhere in that range there. The idea of measure moves is just that. It's an idea. It's an idea. So don't feel like this is a strict level that has to be respected. We might fall short of it. We might exceed it. We might hit it on the head and then still move higher. You know what I mean? Or move lower from there. We might stop just below and then still move higher and inevitably hit this target, right, and stop right there. And then we go on a longer term consolidation. I don't know. But something up there makes a lot of sense. That is the measure move after all. If we take this from a high here, relative high, to a relative low, we do have fib extensions that agree with this as well. Again, the idea is right here, but you could stop just short of it right there at 150K. You could exceed it and go to 160K. I personally do believe that when we break out of this pattern overall, we will be on a mission all the way up to about $180,000 to $200,000. Something up here is what I'm thinking, but we might make a stop at this measure move zone first. Perhaps we consolidate, we form another pattern, and then we break out, right? Maybe we form like a bull flag or something like that in the midst of this breakout here. But I do believe we're moving higher. That is the expectation. Looking at the 1 hour time frame here, zooming way in, let's just see how the day's looking so far. 111K, we got 21 minutes left in this 1 hour candle. We came down a good bit here. We came down a good bit, but we're coming up. Trump and Xi are meeting on the 30th. They're meeting on the 30th to talk, trade talks. And I think it's interesting that Trump's going to Asia because Asia is one of the largest crypto hubs in the world, specifically like East Asia. I mean, really, Asia as a whole is phenomenal for crypto, and you've got two of the largest economies in the world who are also very heavily invested in cryptocurrency and the development of AI and all this stuff. They're meeting together to talk about trade deals. I would expect that crypto is going to be in the talks here. It's probably going to be in the talks. On this note of talking about news, by the way, I just want to take a moment to say, isn't it dumb? Aren't we sick of these games, right? Trump says he's ending trade talks, so this is Trump's fault that the trade talks are over with Canada, right? That's what they're saying here. But then they say Trump's post on social media, which was he's ending all trade negotiations, called it egregious behavior. His post that said that came after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said he aims to double his country's exports to other countries. How he's looking to do more business with other countries and not the U.S., right? So he posts this, he says this, and then Trump retaliates. But it's Trump's the one that's doing it, right? He's not the one. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney had nothing to do with it. He didn't kick up any dust at all, right? The media, man, they're not there to help you. They're not there to tell you the truth. They're there to engage you. They're there to engage you, my friends. Just remember that, okay? Just remember that. That doesn't mean there's not truths in there, but it's not there to help you, right? It's there to engage you. And they're going to do whatever they can to do that. $111,000 now. Enough about that, though. You didn't come here for a lesson in that. You came here to watch me draw lines on charts, right? Little white lines. Stochastics look bullish. The MACD, well, it looks bullish, to be fair. I mean, to be fair, this is where you'd expect a bounce, actually. And the way that 1 hour candle's looking is a bounce as well. Why would you expect a bounce here? Someone might be asking, why would you expect a bounce here? What is telling you that? Well, typically when you're trending, you see here how you're moving up, you're trending. Look at where you bounced. It was right when you flipped red just a little bit. Here, you bounced right when you flipped red a little bit, right? Right, you see it? Right? You're trending now, right? You're getting higher lows here. You're trending now. You bounced right there, right when you flipped red. We bounced right here when you flipped red. We just flipped red. We're probably going to bounce right here. And we might not flip red by the end of this hour. I mean, we got 20 minutes left. We could come up green, and then this is not a bounce at all. It's not a cross at all. It's just a near touching point, which is also something that's, like this here, that's bullish. I don't know what's more bullish. Is it bullish to get a fake cross, or is it bullish to not cross and then just pop off of that? I don't know. I suppose the second one would be more bullish, but I think they're both equally as bullish. Anyways, there is some bearish divergence here. Right, we do have higher highs with lower highs here in the RSI and even in the stochastics and in the MACD. Fortunately enough, this movement here negates that bearish divergence. Now we've seen that divergence close in. We've consolidated here. We're ready to move up, and I think we will move up. I mean, man, this is just crazy, isn't it? Isn't it crazy, deceitful behavior, what we have here? I mean, you move up, you're trending, you're looking nice, and then you dump with absolute ferocity, just completely ferocious dump here. You're moving up with a purpose, and then you just give it all back. And you even saw a slightly lower low than this low here, slightly lower. And then as soon as you did, boom, then you rip through the roof. As soon as you get above this high, when people go max long, that's whenever we sell. We get just low enough to take out this low, and now we're moving up again, right? It's very deceitful price action. I'm sure the people who are trading, if you're trading by the book, you're probably getting creamed unless you have good risk management. And if you're just trading by guessing or like going against the grain, you're probably doing well. This is it's crazy deceitful behavior right now. And I do think we're going to move higher. I really do. A lot of people might look at this as bearish divergence. That means that we're going to roll over. I think we already have. I think this is the extent of it. And I really think that we are trending higher. It looks good. The volume's coming in, all these good things. The Trump-Xi thing on the 30th coincides very well with the 29th as well, right? The 29th is a big day because we have the FOMC announcement where Jerome Powell will talk about cutting interest rates. So that's interesting in itself, and that should have bullish effects on the price between now and then. We should be moving up into that event. Perhaps we will continue to move up into this trade talk with Trump and Xi, and then once all that news happens, then we'll sell off. Or maybe something bad will happen in that talk, and then we'll sell off, whatever it might be. Maybe Xi doesn't show up or walks out early or something like that. I don't know. Or Trump could do that too. 4 hour time frame here. Looking at this, the MACD is clearly bullish. Why is it bullish? Broke above the zero, found some turbulence, and now you're breaking above it. It looks like for real. I can't imagine that you would just do this forever at the zero. That's very uncommon behavior. So the fact that you picked a side and said just kidding, and then you said just kidding again, I don't think you're going to keep just kidding yourself, right? I think that you really have picked a side once, twice, third time's the charm, as they say. And I think that we are moving up higher. This looks really good. The last time that we crossed above the zero with the 4-hour MACD, I mean, we went to new all-time highs. Granted, we were literally at the same price that we're at now, actually. Crazy thought, right? We're at the same price now that we were back here when we crossed above the zero on the MACD, and that sent us to new all-time highs, to our current all-time high area. Stochastics look bullish, very, very bullish. Look, they're at the same areas that we were at back here too. Whenever we started crossing the zero, it's bullish as hell. And the RSI here was overbought. We're not overbought yet, but I think the fact that we've rejected this overbought zone twice and we're still coming back for more. We found support at the 40. We're largely living above the 50, not getting oversold at all. We've got this overall uptrend here, higher lows and higher highs. I think it's obvious we're going to the overbought zone. This is going to be potentially, this weekend's going to be good, you guys. This weekend might not be boring. We actually might see an exciting weekend. If not, perhaps we do go on pause for a second. We see a stagnated weekend. You know, it is Friday, so Saturday, Sunday could be a little bit boring. But then we pump going into the next week, starting to rally, going into that FOMC meeting. It's very possible that we see something at new all-time highs by the end of the month. If anybody thinks Bitcoin can't see new all-time highs by the end of the month, let me just tell you, it's very possible that we could. I actually have a bet going on. I called for 128.5K to be where we are at the highest by the end of the month. That's not where we're going to be exactly at the end of the month. Maybe it is. Maybe it is at the 31st on that closing hour on the 31st. Maybe we are right there, but just that we will hit this high. That'll be the high price that we see by the end of the month. So slightly higher prices. And I don't think we stop there, right? That's just by the end of the month, and then I think we really continue to rally. But we'll see. Even if we don't, even if we're only at 122K or 118K, whatever, we're still going to be moving higher. But I'm just saying, I really wouldn't be surprised at all if we did see new all-time highs by the end of the month. And I think a lot of this movement up is going to coincide directly with the events taking place on the 29th and the 30th. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I mean, it's moving up because it's Bitcoin. It's going to move up regardless of these events, you know what I mean? But just around that time, I think it makes sense, something to rally behind. Daily RSI looks productive. We're at the same areas, finding support at the same areas we have been since March. It's prevailing now. Largely bullishly dominated daily RSI. Stochastics look bullish. I mean, when have we seen the stochastics look like this and then we turn around? I guess right here once. It doesn't happen, though, often, right? Here, oversold, you looked like this, you went all the way to the overbought zone, all the way to the overbought zone, overbought, here, overbought, right? You really actually haven't found a place to turn around, because once you get oversold, you really don't turn around. You did turn around momentarily here, but you didn't. You kept running, so really never. You're going to get overbought, and that will again coincide with moving up higher and probably breaking out of this megaphone pattern as a whole. The MACD is bearish at the moment, but again, I want to invite you to just analyze the MACD with me real quick. Okay, look at this price action. First off, we're moving sideways. Okay, largely moving sideways. Sure, up and down, right? But we've got a broadening pattern, right? But largely we're moving sideways. Whenever we flipped bullish, that was actually a good time to sell. When we flipped bearish, it might be a good time to buy. When we flipped bearish before, it was actually a good time to buy. When we flipped bullish, it was actually a good time to sell, right? Whenever we were at the kind of top of this part here. The MACD's been deceitful, and that typically happens when you do move sideways, just so you're aware. So I don't care that it looks bearish. In fact, the fact that it looks bearish and it's been deceitful might actually imply that it's a good thing right now, that we are going to move higher. And, you know, last but not least, looking at the weekly time frame here, the weekly RSI does have lower lows. It looks like we have lower lows here, but by the way of the weekly closing candles, we actually have higher lows. So lower lows in the RSI, bouncing off the 50 with higher lows in the price. It's hidden bullish divergence while finding an area of significance in the RSI. We actually have every single cycle, our low points have directly, absolutely 100% every single major consolidation phase we've had. The low points have directly coincided with the RSI getting below the 50, and we're there now. And we're about to find support, right, with lower highs but lower lows but higher lows in the price. That's hidden bullish divergence. Same thing in the stochastics, bouncing right off the oversold zone. And the MACD overall is bullish, so we don't mind that at all. Ultimately, I believe that we are running all the way up to about $180,000 to $200,000 by the end of this year. somewhere in that kind of range there by the end of 2025. If I'm wrong, it's not because we stopped below there by the end of 2025. It's because we went above there by the end of 2025. But my expectation is something between 180 to 200K. And then going into 2026, we should be reaching for $500,000 and beyond. I've got nothing else. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Okay, hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.